It's the smart way to lose weight. Permathene with calcium. In one little caplet, maximum appetite control plus the calcium your bones need.
If you're considering cosmetic surgery, call the American Plastic Surgery Center hotline.
Now, to slim you as never before, the all-new Golden Playtex.
What's the best way to reduce? Eat what you want or starve yourself? If you want to eat and lose fat, get RDX at your drugstore today.
1-800-NEW-LOOK. The consultation is free. Call today.
After all, the way we look exerts so much influence on the way we feel and on the way other people feel about us that it really is very important.
In our society, women's bodies are a constant topic of discussion and evaluation. Not only does this occur in real-world social interactions, it is also unavoidable in media. Comment sections are often inundated with comments on the appearance or body of a woman, instead of the content of the post itself. Today, we're constantly exposed to images, comments, and expectations about how women's bodies should look, both explicitly and implicitly, especially on social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Even if women's bodies fit the societal expectations and norms, they are treated as objects to gawk at instead of functional bodies. As women's bodies are perceived more and more like objects, trends preferring specific body types and features have cycled in rapid succession. For example, in the 2000s, extreme thinness was the expected body standard in popular culture, while just 10 years later, a more curvaceous figure dominated the 2010s. The realities of bodily anatomy are also disregarded, as women are expected to alter the shapes and sizes of parts of their bodies at whim to fit rapidly changing norms. The perception, depictions, and expectations pushed by the media has been linked to body dissatisfaction, a pervasive issue among adolescent and young adult women. Approximately 50 to 70% of adolescent girls have reported some degree of bodily dissatisfaction. One major reason body standards feel so powerful is due to something called normative social influence, a concept in which people conform to group norms, even in the absence of direct social pressure to do so. Research shows that body image norms shape how young women think their body should look, often through direct exposure of these norms on social media. However, these ideals aren't always accurate. Research has shown people often believe others prefer thinner bodies than they actually do. While these pressures affect both men and women, women tend to experience greater body dissatisfaction. Overall, the more these ideals are internalized, the more dissatisfaction increases. Another dimension of internalization of body norms is self-objectification. Objectification theory states that women are constantly evaluated by their appearance in various aspects of society. Women being treated as objects valued for their appearance is referred to as the objectifying gaze. This gaze plays out through social and interpersonal encounters, visual media, and people's encounters with visual media, aligning viewers with an implicit sexual gaze. Internalization of objectifications by others results in self-objectification, where individuals, specifically women, begin monitoring themselves as objects to be evaluated by their appearance. This constant body monitoring has been associated with negative psychological outcomes such as depression, appearance-related anxiety, and eating disorders or related behaviors. Moreover, body dissatisfaction can also be understood in terms of self-discrepancy. Self-discrepancy theory states that there are three representations of the self: actual, ideal, and ought. The actual self refers to attributes a person believes they can possess. The ideal self refers to attributes a person wishes they could have. Ought self refers to attributes a person believes they should have. When there is a difference between these representations of the self, psychological distress can arise. For example, when there are differences between a person's actual and ideal body, it leads to body dissatisfaction. Societal standards for the ideal body of a woman can feel like an expectation, thus forming an ought self. When there is disparity between the actual and ought self, an individual experiences guilt and anxiety. Body dissatisfaction isn't just common, it's harmful. Understanding how body ideal norms are experienced and internalized by young women and the psychological distress that arises from these expectations make it clear that if no intervention takes place, young women experiencing body dissatisfaction are at risk for increased feelings of body shame, higher appearance anxiety, and negative psychological outcomes such as depression and eating disorders. An increased risk of developing an eating disorder is especially concerning, as it is associated with premature death due to medical complications or suicide. To address body dissatisfaction, researchers have developed interventions based on the psychological theories just discussed. In this film, I will explore these approaches in a model called the Restoration Prevention Model. Restoration strategies include interventions that aim to remediate and reduce existing body dissatisfaction through two strategies: cognitive dissonance-based, and body functionality interventions. In cognitive dissonance-based interventions, participants actively critique existing ideal body standards, creating a cognitive dissonance which leads to a psychological discomfort that motivates the individual to reform their existing beliefs. Participants critique existing standards through activities such as critical essays, discussion, and role plays. Research has found that discussion and exercises designed to challenge societal beauty standards results in decreased thin ideal internalization and decreased body dissatisfaction. Moreover, another kind of intervention addressing body dissatisfaction is body functionality focus interventions. These interventions encourage people to focus on what their bodies are capable of instead of just their appearance. Focusing on functions such as physical ability, bodily processes, and sensory experiences can challenge self-objectification by restoring self-perception of the body as a functioning unit instead of just an object. This technique is associated with better mental health outcomes, fewer body image issues, and lower eating disorder symptoms, as well as improved body satisfaction. On the other hand, prevention strategies focus on equipping individuals with the ability to be more resistant to developing body dissatisfaction in the future, which includes two strategies: media literacy and visible counter-norm messaging. Research has found media literacy to be a protective factor against body dissatisfaction. Media literacy is thinking critically about the media we consume, such as by asking questions like, is this realistic? Is this edited? And what messages is this piece of media sending? Research has shown that media literacy interventions can reduce the harmful effects of media, including negative effects of thin ideal images on body satisfaction. By learning to critically analyze the media they are consuming, young women can become more resistant to harmful messaging. Another preventative strategy is visible counter-norm messaging, which presents alternative norms that are more inclusive and realistic. This can often take place on social media through body-positive accounts or posts featuring a diverse variety of body types and sizes that contrast with thin ideal content, often known as thinspiration or thinspo. This kind of media has been found to lead to increased positive emotions, improved body image, increased body appreciation, and decreased body dissatisfaction. In short, if what people are repeatedly exposed to becomes the norm, then body-positive imagery that contradicts the thin ideal can reduce body dissatisfaction. Though all these strategies are supported by research and empirical evidence, there are still gaps in the effort to reduce body dissatisfaction among all women. Most research has focused primarily on white adolescent and young women, meaning some of these interventions have been developed without taking into account cultural or racial differences in body dissatisfaction risk. For example, in a study concerning self-objectification in African American women, skin tone was found to be an additional dimension of objectification that had not been taken into account by previous research. This indicates that body image is not a one-size-fits-all, and future application and work in this area need to become more inclusive to ensure better outcomes for all. Although body dissatisfaction, a pervasive issue in young women, is shaped by social norms, psychological processes, and media exposure, these influences can be challenged. Through awareness, critical thinking, and targeted interventions, young women can reduce existing body dissatisfaction and become more resistant to negative messaging and influences in the future. In the digital age we live in, repeated exposure shapes what we see as normal. So if we change what we see, we can change what we believe. In recent years, there has been a body positivity movement in popular media that pushes for freedom from unrealistic expectations. Following this trend, the actions we take should reflect a future where different bodies are valued, function is celebrated over appearance, and media created to embrace reality.